Hello and welcome to Taking Charge. I'm your host, Marilyn Fierro, and I am very pleased to introduce today Sifu, yes, as a Kung Fu instructor, Cynthia Rothrock, and today movie star, very well known, and many years ago, competitor. I can't even use that word competitor because when Cynthia showed up in a ring that I had to compete in, we thought, oh no, we weren't even in the same ballpark, more or less same room. But it was fun, it was an experience, and I have to say that for 25 years or so ago, you always had that grace and the beauty, and there was a charisma about you that said you're going someplace. And that time I thought maybe to the top of the tournament circuit, never expecting it to go as far as it did. So I'm kind of proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
It's so great.
Thanks.
And maybe you can share with our audience that transition, because I remember you competing on the East Coast in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, and then next thing I heard, oh, Cynthia, it's okay, good, we can compete now because Cynthia's in California. So that's nice. I'm happy for Cynthia. I'm happy for me. And then we heard you were in the Orient, in China. So why don't you share a little bit of that with us?
I lived in Pennsylvania, so I was competing all along the East Coast, and I wanted to compete professionally, and one of the instructors that I wanted to work with lived in California. So I started traveling from Pennsylvania doing the professional circuit, and this was in 1981, and I became #1 in forms. So people started inviting me to their tournaments and paying my expenses, and I got invited to go to California. And I said, well, I'll go there for 1 month. And I always wanted to go to California. I wanted to go to college there, but my mother wouldn't let me. She was like, no, that's too far away. It's going to fall in the ocean. So I was like, okay. So this is my chance. And I was there for a month and said, that's it. I'm going to stay here. And I opened up a school. I competed professionally for 5 years. And then I wanted to retire after 5 years because I was undefeated, and I thought that was a hard record to break, and it was a lot of pressure on me because everybody was waiting for me to lose. And I would go to China, I'd go to Taiwan, I'd go to Hong Kong just to get better and better so I could keep on top of everybody else. So after the 5 years came, I was on the West Coast demonstration team, and they heard that they're holding auditions in California for a new Bruce Lee. So they said, well, why don't you bring Cynthia and a couple of the other girls anyway, even though they're looking for a guy. So we went down, everybody auditioned, the girls did, and they said, oh, we're going to sign her up. So that was how I got involved in the film industry. It was sort of by accident. It wasn't something I was seeking. I actually came to California for the martial arts, but then my first film, which was in June of '85, I thought, well, I'll do one film. It'll be an adventure. I'd be on a poster. I could show everybody and say, look what I did. I never thought it was going to go into a career. And after I did the first film, it broke all box office records in Hong Kong. So I got offered to do another one. So I did the second one, and then I said, you know what, this is a good transition. I'm not going to compete anymore, so now I'll go into films as a career. So that's kind of how the acting got started.
And what kind of training do you do? Then you continue to train your martial arts, obviously. What kind of a regime would you have if you're working on a picture?
It was sort of different. After I retired from competition, when I was competing, I would train at least 8 hours a day. I would be trained. I had a martial arts school, so I was always at the school. I trained by myself in the morning for a couple hours. I trained with my students. I trained after my students, and that's all I would do is live, eat, sleep, drink martial arts. I would never go shopping if I was somewhere else. Like if I was touring a city, I'd go to martial arts schools. When I retired from competition, it was almost like, okay, now I could do yoga, now I could play tennis, now I could do other things. So I went off on to do other things. I always kept my martial arts, but I wasn't as into it as that, because now it sort of let open doors to do other physical sports. So now what I do is I do a combination of everything. I still do my martial arts. I'm actually wanting to start learning Chen Tai Chi. I'm looking for someone that lives in my area that I feel qualified enough to teach me. So that's my next goal. So I think my whole life I'll always be studying martial arts, and it's just always going to be a part of my life.
Well, I was going to say, would you agree that once it's in your life, it's in it? It's never going anywhere. It's part of your life forever.
Yeah, definitely. And I know a lot of people, sometimes they get away from it, but it's funny, they always eventually come back into it. So I think, and it's not just, in the martial arts, it's just the feeling you get, the overall well-being of health, and, and the positive attitude and everything. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Well, this is what, when we're working with the kids in the school and we're talking about what martial arts does for you in the overall, through life, And what you talked about before with the group of students over there, how your self-esteem from the martial arts helped you to get past those bad times in the movies and interviews. And there are times that are really tough, and we have to draw on something within ourselves. And one of the things, too, is that 25 years ago, there weren't too many women in the martial arts. At that point, we weren't too welcome any place to go ahead and compete or to train in this man's world. So there's something that's inside that says, don't tell me what I can't do. I want to go out there and try it anyway and keep giving it my best and show you I can be the tops at this. What is it that you drew upon at that point?
Well, I think it was just from doing martial arts, not to give up, to always strive to be better and better, and to set a goal. And that's what I always did. I set a goal to be number one. I set a goal to be good in movies. And like you said, it was very hard. When we were competing, there weren't women's divisions weren't divided. I always compete against the men for grand champion. I never competed in a women's weapons division. For Karate Illustrated, I was the first woman on the cover. Same thing when I got into films. It was a man's world. You know, it was like, well, yeah, she's great, but let's just use her as the girlfriend, and we'll use so-and-so as the lead, you know, and I'm still breaking that barrier, you know, opening, and I feel I've opened doors for women. I mean, now there's a lot of women on martial art covers. You know, when I was training, I would go to places like Alaska, and they'd say, oh, you could wear lipstick in martial arts? And it's like, yes, you can. It's like, you know, you're still a woman, you're still feminine, you know, it's not, you know, it was so a stereotype that martial arts was for men, and it wasn't, and I think, you know, at that time, we just had to, you know, show people that it wasn't. And now I think there's just much more and more women involved, realizing that not only is it a good self-defense system, but it's one of the most perfect ways you could get your body in physical condition. When I was going over to do Hercules, I thought, oh my God, they're gonna make me look beautiful, I'll have a long wig on, beautiful costume, and they go, this is your wig. And I was like, oh no. I thought they were kidding. I was ready to cry, I thought. And I thought, okay, I'll just make it a character, right? So I put this really ugly wig on. Well, what happened is, because my hair was really long at the time, they had to pin it down really tight, and they had a band on it. And I had to wear this maybe like about 14 hours a day, right, at least. So all of a sudden I started getting a really bad headache, and I was going, oh, and I kept saying, all I want to do is rip this wig off and rub my head, you know, it was driving me crazy. It was almost like, you know, that feeling like there's something eating your brain. And when they finally took it off, I had an indentation, like about a half an inch, and the next day my forehead was all bruised. It was on so tight, and then they said, okay, we're not going to put that band on.
Did you have a problem in the beginning on the transition, the desire to hit as a martial artist? Were you used to hitting?
Oh, when I first started, I had with movies?
Well, yeah, right, not yet.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant when I first started martial arts.
Oh, we all do.
Yes,
we all do that. Yeah, boy, I want to hit
definitely.
somebody till I get it under control.
Yeah, I did. Actually, when I first did my film, I started off in Hong Kong, so they hit really hard. So I heard constantly, Cindy, more power, and I remember the first night I was shooting, I had to come back and elbow this guy who didn't have a pad on because he had a little muscle shirt. They were going, Cindy, more power, and he's going, oh, please, no more power, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I was like, I had a hard time, you know, hitting hard, but then you get used to it, because over there, they hit a lot more hard than you would hit in an American film. And then when I made the transition from Hong Kong to America, I was hitting stunt people too hard, and they're going, whoa, take it easy. I'm sorry, I thought about adjusting it.
So as often as you're focusing, like you said, just to the face, a lot of times you are making contact. Is it body contact?
No, it's mostly body contact, but sometimes you do have to hit to the face, especially, you don't see it too much over here, but in Hong Kong pictures, and because they want to see the contact in slow motion, they want to see the sweat coming off, and it wasn't that difficult for me to hit someone, because I knew I wasn't hitting them that hard. It was more difficult when I knew someone had to like kick me in the face or hit me, because you have to look like, I remember coming around this corner here, and I knew someone was going to hit me in the face with a stick. And you can't flinch, you can't, you know it's coming, but you can't make it, you know, and I hated those shots. I hated like getting hit in the face.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I think that you set a wonderful example for women through the movies and through your career, and just following along with it. So I thank you very much, and thanks for speaking with us.
Oh, thank you, my pleasure.